I want to move to the other side of the game as the Rockets picked up their third loss in their last four. Tracy's phone is trying to chime in. Everyone wants in on this discussion. I mentioned Mike D'Antoni talking after the game. Let's take a listen to that.
Well, a veteran team that's just kind of put together and, yeah, you're right. I was trying to spin it some way, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it with a straight face. No, it's concerning, but what I'm saying, to me, the focus is not on getting it right. The focus is more looking at the back of the jersey instead of the front of it. And we just need to get over it, and we will. They'll get back. And, again, every ship, gets rocked sometimes. We're getting rocked right now.
All right, Richard. So he says, we'll be fine. You losing faith in the Rockets? You're still good.
I'm glad you asked me that question, Rachel. I never had faith in the Rockets. I never had faith. I legitimately never had faith.
The entire American Southwest.
Yes. My thing about the Rockets is we've seen Russell Westbrook with Paul George and Kevin Durant, and now he's back with James Harden. We've seen James Harden with Chris Paul, and we've seen a group of things, and ultimately they've always fallen short. There's always been a lack of defense. There's been some a little too much one-on-one in the postseason. They've just fallen short too many times for me to be like, oh yeah, I believe in the Rockets. I knew they'd make the postseason. I think they can make it to the second round. But do I believe that they play the type of basketball and play the type of defense that's a championship caliber? No. And they haven't in the last few years. Even though the Chris Paul injury was one game away, they still were playing a style of brand and a basketball that wasn't conducive with high-level winning.
I agree with him. I mean, this team, as great as they are offensively, it's just they don't have that balance of being efficient offensively and defensively. It's just not a good balance. I think they're somewhere around 20th in the league in defensive efficiency. If they're not going to, play consistent defense, I mean, they're not going to be able to win a championship. This is a team that has championship potential, considering that they have James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and the guys that they have surrounded them. They should be competing for a championship, but because I don't think there are sound defenders, they're not consistent at playing defense, and therefore they're going to always fall short.
Yeah, and look, when we look at, if you want to compare them to the Warriors, when the Warriors were shooting a ton of threes, very similar to Houston shooting a ton of threes, the Warriors still had a top 5, top 10 defense when they were focused. They had their def lineup. They had the all small. You had Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Year. You had Steph Curry leading the league in steals. Even though he wasn't a good defender, he was contributing something on the defensive end. So this team, and then you also have to start looking at personalities, right? Are there personality clashes here? Why is it that certain things couldn't work in different places?
Well, I think Harden and Russ seem to be getting along better than we saw at the end of Harden and Chris Paul. But to me, if I was James Harden, I would not have agitated for the Chris Paul-Russell Westbrook trade. I don't think that basketball style-wise, maybe Russ is your boy, but that basketball style-wise, I think Chris was a better fit for him. I'm also kind of done with the hamstring away. I think you lose the we were a hamstring away, one game away thing when in this past year, you had the chance of a Kevin Durant-less Warriors in a decisive game where Steph Curry didn't score a point in the first half, and you couldn't close that deal. I'm done with the hamstring away.
I hate telling nice people bad things, but I'm sorry, Rocket fans. This is as good as it's going to get.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For highlights and analysis, check out the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, check out ESPN+.